The opening of this week's Torah reading is God's command to Moses, Bo el Paro. All too often, this is translated, or rather mistranslated, as go to Pharaoh. But in fact, Bo clearly means come and not go. A slight semantic difference, you might argue. But let's not be anti-semantic, for any good Semite knows that semantics are everything when you're talking Torah. What's more, this is the first word and title of the Parsha itself. And the title of the Parsha is always taken to be an encapsulation of its essence. So what does this title Bo reveal to the semantic conscientious reader? First off, it's essential to note that this is the Parsha where we witness the actual flight from Egypt. The entire book of Shemot has been building up to this crescendo of final release from the Egyptian stranglehold. This is the Parsha which relays no less than history's quintessential narrative of leaving. This is the very go of let my people go, the very exiting of the Exodus. So why in the world is the title come and not go? What's the meaning behind this biblical riddle? One answer, paradox. The Torah's subtle insert of come in the place of go can be taken as a hint about the important place that paradox holds in all journeys towards freedom. Any seasoned spiritual journeyer can tell you that a hallmark of the spiritual quest is the encounter with paradox. Niels Bohr said, the opposite of a correct statement is a false statement, but the opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. When it comes to encountering the profounder truths of life, it's inevitable that we come face to face with paradox. Thus, in our Parsha, one paradox is that coming and going are essentially joined. The Zohar, playing off of this word bo, portrays God ushering Moses from chamber into innermost chamber until he comes face to face with a mighty serpent, the inmost symbolic core of Egypt. The message is that in order to leave Egypt, Moses had to fully come to enter and encounter Egypt's very heart of darkness. There is no leaving without first fully entering. But even more paradoxical than that is the very fact that God calls Moses to come to Pharaoh, as if God himself was somehow there with Pharaoh, sitting on his sleeve, nay, within his very skin. The implicit message of Bo is thus God's alluring promise that when you come to Pharaoh, you are coming to me. And so it is in our personal lives. When we face pharaohs, when we find God. I see it daily in my own life and in my work as a psychotherapist. Our pharaohs are more often than not ruling our most intimate interactions with our partners, parents, children, friends. We are all in some way enslaved to poor communication and misunderstandings. When we avoid these conflict areas, then resentments build, festering, and love and intimacy are slowly bled out of our lives. But when we engage the conflict, finding ways to courageously talk through the misunderstandings, then our relationships flourish. When we face our fears, our foes, our fiends, we find their very opposite, freedom, release, and God. This is the model of paradox taught by this Parsha. The Moses in us is able to find the God in Pharaoh. Divine grace is inherent in, and especially in, our greatest moments of pain. In the end, the great promise of paradox is that there is a truth that's bigger than what makes sense, a truth that accounts for life's most bewildering contradictions. And what's more, the next time you stumble upon a paradox, remember that it might just mean that you're on the verge of your next great leap into freedom. The poem I'm about to share is called Pharodox. The contradiction has come now, cloaked in her finest clouds, with her book of inversions instructing and sound, riddled with ridiculous, read silently aloud. To be spared the storm, you must first flee the shelter. You must shatter the vessel to best sip its nectar. You must face your worst to claim your better, and as for your enemy, 'tis your highest endeavor to seek out his speech, for God bids from his lips, to seek out his eyes, for in them is God glimpsed. Your freedom only fits upon Pharaoh's fine throne, your sovereignty sits where he sits alone. And take comfort in the fact that you're bidden here and not there. It's God alone who calls you to lure and to lair. Come soft to your Satan, your best-friended fiend, and taste the servitude dish that's reserved for the freed. So come as you leave, and believe while in doubt, for the truth's best decreed by your enemy's mouth. And all you risk will be repaired 1,000-fold reward, for in facing your fears is the face of your Lord. So come, beckoned and blinking, to the dank serpent's den, coil up with the snake, who sheds light with his skin. Coil up with the snake, who sheds light with his skin.